about marriage. And there are things that go through a man's head.
I'll tell you what goes through my head.
Well, listen, the book he wrote is called She Wants a Ring and I Don't Want to Change a Thing, which would be right where you are.
Yeah, I'm kind of, well, listen, I don't get any pressure from Beth that she wants a ring, so, you know, I'm not getting that thing. But there are sometimes I fantasize about, gee, it'd be really nice and this and that, we'd be married happily ever after, but I've been married and it went wrong, so I sit and go, but maybe things will get worse instead of better. Like maybe
and that's why you're always saying things are great the way they are. That's why I'm saying this is right where you are.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
If it became important to Beth, would you marry her? If, like, she came to you and said, you know what?
That's a good question.
I think I really want to be married.
At this point, I don't know, because, like, I really don't want to, I mean, I don't really need to be married.
But what if she says, I'm out? I mean, it's not in her nature.
I would hope she didn't, because that would just suck. Then you feel like you're being pressured instead of doing it for the right reasons.
Well, not I'm out, but, you know, like, it's just, you know, you love her.
It would make me happy. I'm not happy with the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at this point, yeah, sure. You know what? And I know I said I'd never get married again, but I could say. I
told you this would happen to you.
You're Robin, you're right. You get closer and closer.
I told Robin she was right. I said, you know, it's just like, I don't know, you know, it's so perfect. I mean, I don't even want to go through the embarrassment of a wedding ceremony. I find them horribly embarrassing.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to have a huge ceremony anymore.
I mean,
although sometimes
she means so much to me that if that was going to kill her, that she wasn't, you know, Mrs. Stern.
I told you this even about a baby. If that was going to kill her, you love her, you're going to do it.
No, I can't go there.
Yeah, you would.
But Beth would never. Beth would
Don't argue with me. I've been right
all
along.
Then you just talk me out of getting married. Because you know what? If the next thing is the baby, I'm just so not ever there.
All right, here's what this guy James says is on men's minds when they think about getting hitched. The life sentence of for better or for worse.
Right, that's number one. Absolutely.
Giving up that dream of tasting the fruits of all nations, splitting from woman to woman.
Right. Number two.
Let's see.
Because that's what marriage is. You're vowing that you're never going to be interested in other women.
Ever.
I don't know that.
It's
ever again.
The vow should be my penis now belongs to you.
Yeah, and there's something sort of romantic about that. Like you don't give your penis to someone else, but at the same point, you don't know that you're not going to have that feeling about someone else. Look at Richie Sambora.
But most guys who get married are guys who, just like Chris Rock says, you know, are out of options. A man's face loses options.
The what-if complex. What if I fall even more in love with another woman?
Right.
Number 4, divorce.
Right.
Number 5, replicating his parents' failed marriage. Or replicating his parents' happy marriage.
Yeah, that kind of scares
no matter how you slice it, marriage sucks.
But you know what else the big fear is, and this is going beneath the surface. Those are all the obvious.
Well, I haven't gotten to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
All right,
Those
go
might
ahead.
be in here. Surrendering his post as president and CEO of the fun firm.
The fun firm?
Right.
Becoming an active member in the tamed husband fraternity.
She might get fat.
The blah life, boredom over familiarity and routine.
Right.
Surrendering quiet control, space, privacy, watching ESPN all night, poker and suds with the guys, cigar breath, and stinky sneakers. And giving up erotic, break the guest room, fold out couch sex.
Right.
For regulated, you do this, I do that, now let's sleep sex.
And she'll get fat, which isn't on that list. But the other thing is, too, a lot of guys, like me, always think something good is going to turn into something horribly bad. That's the thing. And like,
well, he said that. He said the idea that it could all go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, guys and people in general have this thing that, you know, oh, I don't deserve anything good in a way. It's some deep psychological kind of thing. Who knows how we get that way? The fact of the matter is, we live in fear that whatever's good is going to turn bad.
But don't you see that happen a lot? People are so happy as a couple, and then they get married, and it just goes to shit.
There's something hot about being the boyfriend and the girlfriend as opposed to the husband and wife.
Oh, it's definitely sexier. You know.
I mean, I look at my married friends and I go, they're jealous that I got a girlfriend as opposed to a wife, I think.
When you were married and you used to talk about having sex with your wife, I used to say, who does he think is interested in married sex?
Right.
Well,
you're like, wow, I banged my wife.
You can have.
Yeah, I banged my wife. Boy, I got her.
Good score.
Again, we're doing this strictly from the man's point of view. But
was there another point of view?
You're right.
Well,
Fuck
I was talking about the man's point of view, Artie. That's exactly what I was talking about.
That's what I'm saying, but we got to listen to broads anyway. I mean, you know, hey.
So what's the upside?
The upside is if you're a guy who can't get laid, or you're feeling like in the future you're not going to be able to get laid. Like, look at me. I'm 52. How much longer? When we're going to put up with my old ass?
I always remember that argument.
You'll be able to get laid for a while.
I always remember that argument that they say Frank Sinatra had with his last wife. Mm-hmm. You know, they were at each other's throats, and it was like, I'm walking out kind of a fight.
Right.
And he looked at her and said, who wants either of us?
Right, he knew. There's nowhere to go.
That's right. We got to stay right here.
So, like if you take a guy who hasn't been getting laid, suddenly some chick, for some bizarre reason, starts banging him. He's like, I better lock in here and do the full Monty, because if I don't, she'll go
to somebody else.
It'll be another 10 years before I get laid again.
Yeah, but Ralph's right. Your situation is, I mean, you'll be able to get laid for another 15 years.
I'm talking about, Robin asked why guys still get married. And that's the reason.
They also feel they have to, like other friends are getting married, and they think...
Well, children, too. You want kids.
But there is this idea of a deeper romance.
That's right.
When I'm sitting there, like with my girlfriend on a chaise lounge, and we're just sitting there holding each other, and we just feel so close, it's like you almost go, shit, man, be so great. You know, you could, and you commit to each other. You know, it's a great little pipe dream, but God damn, it goes wrong so many times. Even the hottest chick, you know, hey, Heather and Richie, come on. He got bored. Or she did.
Something happened. Something happened.
That's why Hollywood marriages never last.
And I'll tell you something, my marriage wasn't even that bad. I mean, we really cared for each other. Just shit happens. And it's like, I don't know, man. And then the legal aspect. Even you see these guys, they sign prenups and they're getting shit thrown at them. You know, it's like crazy.
Yeah, but the prenup usually holds.
Yeah, it does. But, you know, the chick always finds some shenanigans with a lawyer, you know.
Yeah, how come you always hear about that these girls had prenups and then they're suing over them?
Yeah, the next thing you know, Perlman's paying Ellen Barkin an extra 10 just to shut her up.
No, just because she wasn't giving him problems. Oh, I'm going to pay you more.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? You're so nice, I'm going to give you more money.
She hit the mother load, that bro.
20 mil.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And she's probably pissed. She's probably like, 20 mil? That guy's got $3 billion. Can't please anybody.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, when you're living a $3 billion lifestyle,
right.
You have to go down to a $20 million lifestyle.
She's pissed.
That hurts.
That
hurts.
I don't know, man. That's tough. I see these people getting married, man. I go, ooh.
But don't you got to take the gamble if you're a marrying man.
Sometimes you do.
People seem not to be able to be alone, be self-sufficient.
Right.
Yeah, they need somebody to clean up after them when they get married.
If they wind up needing to have that person around, I guess you should make a commitment.
Nah, who knows?
Hey, so let me tell you a story real quick. So Friday...
Everybody's all depressed.
No, no, you talk about marriage, the room goes dark.
Yeah.
It's a real bummer.
The M word.
Even Fred, who's supposedly in a happy marriage, doesn't pipe up to defend it.
I don't hear any married guys.
No, here's the deal. I do love it, but there's no place for, like, a balanced opinion on this one here. Ralph's totally off the mark, because I don't understand why he's so angry about marriage, considering he's never been married or been in a relationship that's been long-term.
Here's what I was going to say about Ralph. Ralph, have you ever been in love with anyone?
Because he doesn't get it.
Ralph, listen,
it's not just about, like,
Ralph.
fucking all the time.
I'm not even goofing around about this. Ralph has deep, deep psychological
problems. He really
problems.
does. And not only that, it's like, for example, you're not married to Beth.
Right.
But
I'm in a loving, caring relationship.
But would you trade that relationship with Beth away to, like, date a different chick every week?
No.
Because
I could have had that.
So, and I know you can.
I was doing it.
There is some validity to having a solid relationship with another person.
I like it.
So, you know, the fuck 'em and leave 'em kind of stuff is good if you're young or whatever, but after a while it gets tired.
But sometimes I think to myself, with you, there's still a trust issue there.
With Beth, you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Explain.
Because if you that one little thing, but if I do this...
Go ahead.
Things will change. Like, she's not exactly who she'd be if you'd marry her.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think any woman is.
Yeah, they change.
They all change.
God, Beth's so great right now. You know what it is, too? When you get married,
I know people.
Here's the theory.
You know people.
You get married, it puts
But you haven't had any personal experience.
It puts everyone... Wait. Here's the fear. I got to figure it out.
All right.
Got to figure it out. You get married, and that puts the woman on equal footing with you. Now,
That's right, losing the CEO thing, which is what the guy said.
Now I understand what he's saying.
Right.
Because like you look at Gary, okay? I'm going to use Gary's marriage. Gary came to me before he got married. My chick is so great. She lets me do whatever I want. You should see. She's so totally cool, blah, 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 blah. They get married. 2 seconds later, she's telling him what to do.
I was CEO, now I'm janitor.
Yeah.
You've been busted down to janitor.
And the way,
that's not that bad.
you know what? The little boy in all of us wants a mommy to take care of us, so it's like we like giving over the control, and then we give it over, and then we want it back, and we can't get it back.
Yeah, you want it back when you want it.
Yeah.
And you can't have that.
That's right.
You can't have it both ways.
I think the CEO thing is really, should be way up there on that list.
But don't you think a relationship involves, like, one of the things, a lot of my friends who've gotten married, they're like, you know, I can't believe I have to do this and I have to do that. But in any relationship,
you got to do.
There's got to be, you got to make some concessions. And Ralph always jokes like, oh, you're such a pussy, you do this, you do that. But in any relationship, you know what I mean? Just in any relationship, there's got to be some give.
Gary's right. I mean, one thing that defines a marriage or a relationship with anyone, it's sort of like the bad shit you got to do and the attitude you do it with. Like, yeah, I don't feel like getting up and doing this for my wife.
Yeah.
But when you do it and it brings you closer together, it's like, wow, it's
well worth it.
That was worth it.
That was worth it.
I could put up with that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I know. It's tough.
That's just...
Yeah, but
I don't get the concept of going from, like, if I had a stash of money and you get married and it goes from your money to our money...
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
I would freak.
I never could wrap my head around.
Yeah, but Ralph, you have no money. I don't know why it's
Right, so you have nothing to worry about.
Well, let's say I did.
But you don't.
But you don't, you won't.
Let's say I did.
No, you know what will happen to Ralph? He'll get married. He'll be so miserable. He'll actually go to work, make a ton of money.
And then he'll have to
You know something?
That's the only reason Ralph can't get it together. He thinks it's a psychological... It's because he's not married. You get married, you get motivated.
I hope Ralph does become wealthy so we can test his theory.
What?
I hope he can become wealthy so we can test his theory.
Give me some money, Fred.
He's willing for you to make him wealthy.
Tell you what else, too. If Beth and I, let's say, have been married for 5 years now, she's not worried about leaving me for 6 weeks. Now she's on her toes. She's like, hey, I can't leave for 6 weeks.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Howard will be out there banging.
You do start to take each other for granted on some level. Like I remember, I was reading that book.
But that's not good either.
What's that guy, Robert Evans? Remember the producer? You know, he was married to Ally McGraw.
Right.
You know, she was a lot younger than him, and she was like, he said the hottest piece of ass ever. She went to Texas to make a movie with Steve McQueen.
But it's Steve McQueen.
No, but he was like, they're married. You know, she'll be there. You know, she loves me. We're married. You know, there's that sort of comfortability factor.
You get this comfort thing.
Yeah, and guess what?
Guess what?
He
He's
left
banging
her,
her.
and he even says in the book, he goes, his exact phrase is, what a fucking idiot I was. I left her alone for 6 weeks in Texas with Steve McQueen. She kept calling him, please come visit, and he's like, I'm too busy. And that's what happens, you know, you get too comfortable.
And then he went out and banged another odd chick.
Right.
Well,
that's part of it. Also, her relationship with him was predicated on the fact that he was a power broker, and she just moved to another power broker.
Right. She took the better-looking power broker.
Exactly, the guy who could actually give her something.
Broker with looks.
Yeah. But, Howard, to go back to your relationship and what Ralph was asking about for a second, with you not being married, even though you always talk about the kids thing and that you both don't want kids, before you're married, that's never an issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? The kid thing... People seem to feel you have to be married before you can have kids.
Right. You can't have that issue. This way, we don't have that issue.
Keep that off the table.
Exactly.
There ain't no kid discussion.
Right.
I think the kid thing complicates it a lot.
Yeah.
Big time.
I tell you.
Well, that's why a lot of people get married, because they're like...
I think the kid thing for me is a deal breaker. You know, I just can't... But
you've done the daddy
thing. And Beth would say to me, well, then you wouldn't fight for me. You know, then you don't really love me. And I'm like, no, I love you.
But that has nothing to do with it.
I don't love your kids.
Yeah, I could not. I just know that it would be unfair for a kid to have me as a father at this point.
See, you've been a dad already, and you liked it, and you're done with it.
That's right.
No, I get that. I mean, I totally get that. Like, I love my kids, but I've already got kids.
Right. Yes, but on a level, she's making the point that, wait a minute, if that's a part of me, you should love it too.
Yeah. She is, and she's right.
No,
she's right about that, but
I've seen people where, like, they're in a second marriage, but only one person is. And, like, the guy's been like, I've already thrown a big wedding.
Yeah.
And the woman's like, well, I haven't. And then you have that whole discussion about who's... You know,
that's another pain in the ass, sure. I know my buddy's going through that exact thing right now.
Oh.
Because when one person's already done it, how can you reduce that the other person hasn't done it?
One thing I know about Beth, she wouldn't want any kind of wedding. Like, she, you know, we both would be like, okay, let's get married with, like, 2 of our friends there. Like Fred did on the beach with the janitor watching. Fred didn't even invite me.